Okay, right.
Oh, I can hear you. Oh, perfect.
Amazing.
Hi.
Stunning. I'm literally sat at the back of the pub because dead pigeon on my windowsill.
So is this the pub that you work in?
Yeah, luckily, my boss was here when I came in, and he was like, "Why don't you just do it in the back room?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." So I think he knew there was a pigeon in there.
He was aware.
Yeah.
So are you still working in the pub? Yeah.
Yeah, I pick up shifts every now and then when they need a hand and stuff. And for me, it's just like a sense of like normality back in my
Mhm.
life and like a bit of structure. Because some weeks I don't know what I'm doing like from one day to the next. So then to be able to be like, right, well, I know definitely on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm doing this at this time, this at this time. It just I enjoy it and I miss the pub so much. So coming back and seeing the customers, I love it.
I love that. I love that. Just a bit of stability is always needed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad though. So like now, all my colleagues are like, if I hear Big Brother one more time, I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not my fault.
Everybody will want to talk to you about it.
I know, I've always got the biggest queue, but I've always got the least amount of tips. Work that out. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Not making sense. The math's not mathing.
I know, it's madness.
Well, you spent 6 weeks in the house, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 6 weeks,
Yeah.
longest time of my life.
Well, we're not going to talk about Big Brother too much. But you were in there for 6 weeks, and I seen on your like going out post that you were saying that the main thing that you took from it is that you learn loads about yourself.
Yeah.
What do you feel was like the biggest thing that you kind of learned about yourself or that you took away from it?
So for me, I've always was sort of been very conscious of the fact that, I'm a bigger person. I'm gay. We don't really see, bigger gay men in the limelight. I know now we're starting to see it more, but I was like, am I going to be like misrepresented in some sort of way? And then just being in there, I was like, it's not about my weight, it's not about my sexuality, it's just about just who I am as a person. And then I sort of grew from that, and I was like, I then became more confident because I used to like, for me, it was always fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And now I'm no, actually, you are actually a really confident person, Jenkin. You're not faking it, which
Mhm.
I'm kind of like, I would never have known had I not have done the show. And I think I've learned not to be so hard on myself. You
Okay.
know, like I used to like always, I take a picture and be like, oh my God, I can't post that, I look awful. Now I'm like,
Mhm.
nation has seen you look worse. Like
I know
you
what you mean.
don't
Yeah.
worry. So yeah, I've taken I've taken it probably easy on myself and I've learned to love myself a lot more now.
Amazing. That's so good. And it's so vital in life that we can like learn how to appreciate our own
Yeah.
selves. Like.
And like, I know I'm a 10. Like, you don't have to tell me.
And how's it been since coming out the house? So you feel like you're more confident. Have you had any like struggles at all with like any I've not really seen any like negativity about yourself or anything, but have you had any
Yeah.
struggles with it at
So
all or
I was probably, well, one of the luckiest of my group from the show, just
Mhm.
because I didn't get much hate, which I was shocked about. Of course, I'm sure everyone got the odd comment and the odd thing, but it was very generic. I think with me, I knew people were going to go for my weight, so
Mhm.
I was ready for it, and that doesn't phase me. So I was sort of like, actually, this isn't that bad. Like, I didn't have like that much of a negative response. But when I was sort of like out and about and like, I went to Olivia's coming home party with Paul
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because it was such a positive response and everyone wanted pictures and stuff like that, it was very overwhelming for me. And
Okay.
I struggled with it being so positive. And I
Mhm.
was like, right, Jay, you can't be mourning because people like you. But it was a big struggle. And I remember talking to Paul and I was like, my anxiety's through the roof. Like I just don't know what to do. And he was like, look, if you feel like this, like, you just talk it out with someone, you need to like go and get help. And I spoke to
Yeah.
the doctor, it's completely normal. Like just and I sort of like I literally just had to put it into perspective and was like, would you rather them come up and ask for a picture or like just shout abuse? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm panicking over nothing here.
I think it's so important to speak about that though, because like it's so common. And I was literally doing a
Yeah,
podcast yesterday with a woman, and we were talking about like how common it is if you have maybe had struggles, or you've maybe been a bit self-conscious before, and then you start feeling better, you start feeling good, and you're like sometimes a bit overwhelmed with like happiness, and you don't quite know what to do with it, or like you're not
yeah,
quite sure where to put these emotions, and you're like, even if things are going really, really well, you can still feel overwhelmed and stressed and like,
yeah.
oh my God, this is too much.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think, and you saw, I know I felt so ungrateful, being like,
Okay.
people want to take pictures and people want to see you and want to talk to you, but and I was just like, it was too much. And I remember it was the key thing that stands out for me. It was me, Paul, and Olivia were walking through Glasgow, like city centre, and it
Right.
was just mayhem. And I was like, we're not the Kardashians, bibs. Do you know what I mean? Calm down.
You were
But
the
yeah,
the main people in the UK at that time though, I guess. Say
oh,
like
but looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, that like now, I'm like, that's so fun.
but at the
It wasn't that long
time
ago. At the time, I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I just remember
Hell.
holding Olivia's sister's hand, and I was like, don't let me go, don't let me go. It was madness.
Bless. Oh my God. And that was it Glasgow Buchanan Street or something?
I don't have a clue where we were. All I knew is we were going
Somewhere.
to Kong, and it was by like some sort of church, but like Kong was
Okay.
packed, so it was like, oh, it was just mayhem. And then we tried,
Mayhem.
like, we were trying to like, flex and get in, and they were like, no, you need to queue. And they
Ah,
were like,
humbled.
straight back down to earth.
Yeah.
Literally. I was like, no problem.
Okay, I'll just go back to the queue. I love it. But you've been doing loads, so I've seen that you've done like you were doing drag race, is that right? Like in the
Yes.
or were you like
So
invited down the PR?
yeah, it was crazy. So as well, so I feel bad saying this. We went into hiding a day before the first episode of the new Drag Race season started.
Okay.
So I watched nothing. And I was invited then down to the final, and I was like,
Oh, you had
who
watched
are
it
these?
right, I get you now, yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God. And I love Drag Race anyway. But and then I'm like looking, thinking, I don't know who you are. And I thought, right, my plan is now just to go with my favorite on the night. And
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Tamara Thomas. So I was like screaming, and obviously Ginger won. But oh, it was just surreal to be in a room with like, there was like proper celebrities there. And I was like, oh my God, like it was
Pinch me.
craziness. Like Zanita was there. And I was like,
Oh,
what are you doing here? It was mad, but that was probably one of my favorite events I've been to.
that's been your favorite so far, yeah. You were out
Thousand
last night
percent.
as well, weren't you? Was it like
Yeah. Oh, I know.
reality
Don't make me feel
TV
bad
something?
now.
Oh
Yeah. So
no.
it was SOC's newest reality show. So it's all in Welsh. So it was really
Oh,
nice to actually like take my sister as well last night to be able to watch it. And yeah, it was just a really, really nice, cute night last night. I really enjoyed it actually.
amazing, amazing. And speaking about obviously Wales and Welsh things, you had like a welcome home party, did you, with Chanel?
Um,
Was that like a
we didn't
Wales?
have one together. So
Okay,
I had mine in the pub, and Jesus Christ.
hectic.
It was madness. I remember I was doing a Q&A, but by this point I'd been drinking for about 4 or 5 hours.
Oh
And
God.
it's like, do you want to see? And I'm like, no, no, absolutely no. Like my nan was there. I remember my dad walked out halfway through me answering the questions and giving my speech. Um, it was it was mayhem. I'm looking because I'm the stage is just there, but it was mayhem. It was hilarious.
And you come from a small, well, I don't actually know the size of the place. Is it Bridgend, South Wales?
So, right, so there's so the borough is called Bridgend, obviously, but the town is called Bridgend as well.
Okay.
So, but I am from like the borough, so I'm from like a little tiny village,
Yeah.
um, called Pyle, with very apt to be honest. But yes, I'm from a little village called Pyle in just outside of Bridgend town. But
Okay.
a lot of people. So when it was actually really funny. So when I was came onto the stage, Will and AJ were like, "Oh my gosh, is that a Welsh accent I hear?" I'm completely oblivious to everything, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm from Pyle," and everyone was sort of like, like where?" And I was like, "I said
Pile.
Bend." Like, "Oh, why didn't you know where I live?" And then I was like, "Oh, South Wales," and then everyone was like, "I was
I
so
do the
bad."
same though. It's like, when people ask me where I'm from, I'm like Alloa. And they're
Yeah.
like where some people have been like, I thought you lived in the UK. Like, I didn't know you lived in Hawaii. I've actually had someone say that, and I'm like, no, Alloa. It's a small, small, small place in Scotland. You just
It's
think everyone knows it.
madness. Yeah, but everyone I've spoken to before now knew where Pyle was.
I know. That's the thing, yeah. So you think that everyone else does, but talking about where you're from. So I did a bit of digging because we were obviously chatting last week a wee bit, and
Hmm.
you were telling me, about a little bit about where you're from and
Yeah,
about all of the like suicides that had happened there as
yeah, yeah,
well. So
yeah.
I did do a little bit of research, and I seen that it was mainly bad like 2007, 2008. Is that
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
it was like a full year, I remember, and it was a lot of like my mum's friends' children, and like they obviously all the suicides were sort of linked together,
Hmm.
and I believe it was something like 32 within the space of a year, all like sort of linked to each other. And
Yeah. So,
it was, I remember it being such a sad time as well, because obviously, where we are from, it's not a very, well-to-do area. We are on the breadline, and it's sort of like it's such a shame because had we had resources there to help these, young boys at the time, could it have been different? And I know that they were going into the schools and trying to, teach them, prevent suicide and stuff like that.
okay.
Nothing was working, and it was they were all of the deaths were linked, and it was just such a sad time. It was
Yeah.
awful. Like, even though I was so young, I still remember it. And
Yeah.
it's sort of how I would describe it is it sort of felt like you were waking up and being like, oh, who next? Who's next? You were just waiting because you know it'd be someone else.
Yeah.
It was so
It's
sad.
it's crazy. It's called like apparently it's called the I wrote it down because I would forget it, but it's called the Werther effect or something like that. Werther,
Oh,
I think it's called, and that comes from like a book, and it's about a story about like another true story about a man who the book is based on a man who commits suicide because of like his love life basically,
yeah,
and he commits suicide by shooting himself, and then that book was released, and then there was basically like a pandemic throughout Europe of
mm,
men dressing up as him and committing suicide. And they were like writing,
oh,
letters about it, about like the love of their life and stuff, but they would dress up as this man and do that. And that's why,
mm,
and the book's like about a man called Weather, and that's where that comes
yeah, yeah,
from.
yeah,
And they put it out there like saying, for example, if you think about like you obviously can't really compare it, but it does kind of make sense if you think about 10 people standing at like zebra cross, not at a zebra crossing, just at the side of the road, and they're
yeah,
waiting to cross, and then one person jaywalks. Next thing you know, everybody's
yeah,
going to
yeah, yeah,
everybody does it. So it's like they're waiting, they're waiting, they're waiting,
yeah.
and then
That
it's
was
like
yeah.
right, go.
I remember, so I believe. and I might be totally wrong, and I hope I'm not, but I believe the first one, it was sort of speculated that it wasn't a suicide,
Okay.
and that there was sort of foul play played into it. And this, I believe, was like a year before, and then the friends of that person struggled to cope, and then
Yeah.
it just started to spiral, and it's just really sad. I remember, watching my mother's friends on the news crying, and like, everything that was happening. It's a scary time, and well, it was a scary time, and I think to go through that as like a sort of a county, um
Hmm.
knowing now that obviously mental health is very important and stuff like that, I'd like to think that, we have things in place in our county now to help these young individuals and their
Hmm.
mental health, considering what we've gone through together. And, it was 32 in one year, but it didn't stop for a number of years. That was just at its peak. And I think, you know, I hope now that there is something in place to really help these families and help these young men, because it's such a sad thing to go through.
Yeah, it's terrible, and I feel like, there shouldn't need to be such a tragedy for things to change.
Hmm.
I mean, it's the same, but it does obviously things like this do completely bring a community
Yeah,
together, and it's, I don't know, I mean, you've probably heard of the Dunblane shooting as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I lived in Dunblane for 10 years, and you know, there definitely is something about the town where it's like it's not like a closed community, but the community is very tight, like knit.
hmm,
And I moved there as like an outsider from Dunblane, and I never felt like any like oh, you're an outsider or anything. But I feel like the people definitely are quite like protective of their
yeah,
people, and they're like,
yes,
Dunblane, and but I understand it. I completely
yeah, yeah,
understand
yeah,
it. Like it was a tragedy that happened, and but it's so sad that it takes things like that to happen for. I mean, obviously they then managed to change all the gun laws in the UK and stuff,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
amazing. But it just took that to happen for
I know it's
change.
sad. It's yeah, and it's the same here. It's sort of like, we look after our own now, and like we value everyone. Weirdly, it's like everyone, even though we're such a small place, everyone knows everyone, but
Hmm.
everyone's valued now. And there's been a lot of too much lost here now
Yeah.
for everyone to not get on. It's a really nice place to live.
Yeah. Do you love living there?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you
yeah.
think
I
you'll
don't think
ever?
I no.
No.
I think the furthest I'd probably go is Cardiff.
Okay.
But and Cardiff's only 20 minutes away from me. So
Right.
I think, but I don't know, I couldn't. I left home when I was 19. I lived in Somerset. I worked in Butlins for 4 years.
I love it.
Oh, it was
You're like
madness.
trauma.
Honestly, I loved it, but I just, I don't know. I was like, I need to go home.
Okay.
There was something about being, even though, it's not that far away, but it was being so far away. I was like, no, I'm like a home bird. And like,
Right.
now time I need to go. And I think, yeah, I just love being home. And I think I'd struggle. Like, even if I lived in Cardiff and it's 20 minutes away, I would struggle.
Struggle. So how big is the place that you live? The wee place. What was it called again? Pile.
Kyle,
Pile.
yeah.
And how many people live there roughly?
I think so. What it is we've got three villages sort of
Okay.
linked together by one road. Um, and I think there's about 4,000 within the three villages.
Right. Okay. So not a
But
lot
there
at
is
all.
one big council estate there, which is very overpopulated in the bottom village,
Right.
if
Right.
that makes sense. But then all that surrounds us is fields.
Okay. I love it. That's the same here. You can't really see, but like that's my back garden, and behind the shed, it's just like hills and green
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and all
No,
that. I'm in the countryside.
Oh, I've come down to the town I have, so all you can see is Aldi. And
Oh.
it's like a new phenomenon. When Aldi opened, they were like, oh my God, we've got a supermarket.
What was it before? Like just wee shops and
It was a car park.
all
It was a
right,
car
okay.
park. We had co-ops up the road, but where I am now, there's like a big massive fair and stuff like that. So it's always when the sun's out down here, it's packed. It's
I need to
scary.
come. I need to come to Wales for sure. Like I do a lot of traveling and Wales is on my list for sure.
There's so many beautiful places in Wales. It's mad,
Yeah.
honestly. Like I just love Wales. I don't know why my face isn't on the flag because I represent Wales so much. I honestly should be paid brand
Wales
deals from the
ambassador.
government. Like, honestly, that's what I am.
And talking about like, where you live, obviously I've seen as well on your page that you're doing some care things. So you work in the pub
Yes.
and then the other things that you do is care.
Yes.
So um tell me a bit about that. I went onto their page and had a wee look as well,
Yeah.
but give me a better insight to it
Yeah.
all.
So the company I'm currently working with now it's a company called Royal Edge Care.
Mm-hmm.
They essentially will help and retrain people back into the social care sector and assist them in every way they can to, maintain their jobs and, just to sort of stop the turnover that's sort of currently happening in the social care sector.
Okay.
And I like a lot of my family sort of work in that sector. And when speaking to them, they were like, look, we're fine. But what we really want to show is that there's such a positive side to the sector that sort of goes unseen and unnoticed. And there's more to it than, oh, you're just wiping bums or
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're just feeding an old woman. It's not just that. There's a lot more to it, and there's a lot more happy stuff. Like, I literally go into the care homes and I like sit with them. I had to take them Easter eggs the other day, and it's like spending that time with them. It's like so rewarding for these carers, and I don't think the light is shone on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what our mission is now is to sort of shine a light on these people who, you know, they got dealt a bad hand during the pandemic. They've stuck through it, and they're doing an amazing job,
Yeah.
and they deserve the credit. And that's sort of what we're trying to do now. And yeah, we're just honestly, there's so many things that we're trying to work on, which I'm so excited about. It's I'm really hoping that, you know, that we complete our mission and everyone sort of sees this a really good sector to work in.
Yeah.
It has its bad, but it is so rewarding.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Amazing. That's so good and so important because I mean,
Yeah,
like it definitely is like that perception of like, oh, I don't want to work. I'm not wiping bums for a living. Like
yeah.
I'm not doing that.
And it's
When,
so much more than that. And like obviously, like I said, my family would have worked in that sector and stuff like that. And I cared for my mum growing up.
yeah.
So for me, I'm not embarrassed by any sort of aspect of the social care, like what they do and stuff like that, because I've sort of done it and I
Hmm.
connect with them. And I know how rewarding it is. Like I wouldn't have anyone else care for my mum other than myself. Like even now, like, I was helping her this morning in and out the shower and stuff like
Okay.
that. It's just a part of life, and I wouldn't want anyone else to do it because
Hmm.
I don't know. I just feel I just I'm the best one for it, and I think
Yeah.
I feel sort of like, yeah, I can do this. Like there's no shame in doing it.
Well,
So
that's what I was going to say. Like, do you think, because you obviously mentioned to me the other day about your mom and stuff as well.
yeah,
So, do you feel like that is definitely what got you into it? Like, that is why it's
yeah.
something that you would just continue to do and be passionate about because you've had that experience.
Yeah, 1000%. And I think like there's just not a light shown on, not only adult carers but young carers as well. Like I've got a
Oh my
meeting
goodness, yeah.
tomorrow um about being an ambassador for young carers in my local area, and they literally helped my sister. Like, she was also a young carer when I lived in Butlins, and they
Hmm.
assisted her. And so now for me to be able to go and help them with their fundraisers and stuff like that, and they've run out of money, they've got nothing, they've got
Okay.
staff, and they've had to chop their hours in half because there's just no money coming in. And I'm like, what? But like, you've got these young carers and
They need
who
it.
need a break, and they need, they will go out on days out, and they need that time to for themselves as well. So, oh, it got really loud. Sorry. So like it got really loud in here then. So like they need that time for themselves. So I'm like so shocked that they've got no money in the pot, and I've got it. So our plan is now I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do some sort of fundraiser. What I am
Amazing.
gonna say to them is, shall we auction off my green hoodie and see how much we can get?
Oh,
And then
that's
I'm
a good
like,
idea.
oh, if I'm shamed, because imagine if I only get £25.
I don't think you would. I think you'd get way
I,
more
I
than that.
I'll match it and double it. That's what I'll have to tell them.
I'll triple it.
I wish. But yeah, we're just trying to think of ways now, and I'm just really trying to sort of shine a light on the young heroes and every like the social care sector, and just try. I know. Do you know what? I didn't actually notice like how much I actually do for this sector until I've sat down here and I'm like, Cheng, you
No,
aren't that
it's
bad,
really you,
actually.
you're doing a lot for it, and it's really, really good. It's like
Yeah,
I actually it came up on my For You page like last week or whenever it was when you were talking about it, the Royal Educare thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So then I just done some reading about it yesterday. But what I'm saying by that is like people are seeing it. You're making an
yeah,
impact.
yeah.
Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
I'm glad. That was the thing for me. I wanted, I never, and I think, it was very well documented that I said, I'm not here for the fame. I'm not
Hmm.
here for, to be a reality star. I want to make a difference, and
Hmm.
that's why I'm starting locally, like in my local area, and doing it with a group which has actually like helped me and my family, to
Hmm.
be able to now give back to them, and it means a lot to me. And even if it just, helps a couple of people,
Yeah.
it's better than nothing.
And I feel like when there's passion behind it as well, because I'm kind of doing
Yeah,
similar at the moment. Like I spent a lot of my childhood in hospital, and my mum was pretty much my carer.
yeah,
So she didn't really get a break ever either, and I struggled a lot as well, like kind of leaving my mum and living on my own,
mhm, yeah,
and stuff because I was just not used to not
yeah,
having
yeah.
like that support. Um, but now that I'm quite healthy and things are going much better, I've started like a wee fundraising thing, and we just are raising funds for families that have kids that are in hospital all the time, just to
Mm,
give them a wee bit of like either respite or even just like do something fun with the kids, or
yeah,
just a wee bit of support. And I feel like I'm so passionate about it because I'm like, I literally have been there myself, so
yeah.
you know what
And I
it's
think,
like, how it
yeah,
feels
yeah,
inside. And
it like hits you to your core. And
yeah.
it's like, I knew like the second I got in contact with them, I was like, I don't care, even if they say no, I will continue bombarding them with emails until they say yes. Like, okay, I'm not getting paid to work with them. It's not,
Hmm.
I'm not like, oh, brand deal. It's I really want to help them. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? And I never want to be one of these people who are like, oh, buy this. If
Yeah.
paycheck, I'll do stuff which, help me and mean something to me instead of, money. It's not about the money.
Yeah,
It's
and
about
it
me, like,
makes
making impact.
it makes such a difference. Say if you are telling some people about like a business or something that you genuinely use, or have like had
Yeah.
experience with. It just makes it so much more like, yeah, I don't know. I get offered some brand things and stuff as well, and I only really accept them if I actually use it.
Yeah.
You know what I
It,
mean?
honestly, it's madness. But like, I'm the worst at posting them as well.
Or
So
do you
I,
like get them and then don't post them?
yeah, and then just not post them. And like I'm sat and I'm just like, oh God. But like it's brands I love.
Hmm.
But I just always forget to do it.
Just busy as
I
well, eh? Like,
honestly like I'm literally sat here now like, oh my God, Jenkin, actually after this you need to do an ad because
I'm reminding you of everything you need to do
I
now.
know. I'm like, use 10%. No, was it? Jenkin 10 for 10% off.
Jenkin 10. No, I do
No.
love it. But it's funny because when people look at like your social media, if you do stuff like that, like I do stuff like that as well, like
Yeah,
promotions and stuff sometimes. But like I think people look at you and think look at your social media and think that's like your life. And I'm like, it's literally like I do it quick when I
yeah,
have like I'm like quickly, let's do this, blah blah blah. And
yeah,
then I'm like, I've got my family, my husband, my life,
yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
like everything, other
And
work and the
yeah,
gym and
even if that is someone's life, like what is wrong with that?
yeah, it doesn't even
We
matter,
have
eh?
come so far that like my nan used to watch like QVC. Like, do you remember when it was like the shopping channel?
Hmm.
And like she'd phone up. Like it's essentially
That's
that, but on
literally
your
what
phone.
it
But
is.
this is what we're doing, and it's like I don't know. I think there's such a stigma around people selling stuff online. I'm just like,
Hmm.
you know, let it go. If you don't like it, just scroll past it. It's
Like, what's the point in getting upset? It
I
stress
know.
that stresses me out. Like the thing that stresses me out is actually people getting annoyed at
Yeah,
what other people are doing. I'm like, that's the only
it's
people that annoy me.
yeah. They're like, oh my God, why are you selling a crimpet? I'm like,
Just leave. So
who
what?
cares?
Yeah, totally,
It's not, no, it's
totally.
mad. But no, I love it. But I say all this, I'm not like ever. I don't think I've ever like tried to sell anything.
Oh well, I've
I'd
been
be
doing a
awful
wee
with
bit,
it.
but I mean, the money isn't great so far. I'm hoping it'll
And
just
that's
keep.
what everyone thinks as well. So like
Yeah, it's like
obviously working in the pub, they're like, "What are you doing back here?" Like, I've got bills.
yeah.
I
I've
have
got like
to,
shit to pay.
like, and no, it makes me laugh, and that's why I get no tips. They're like, "Oh, you've got more money than me." Like, oh, thanks, mate.
Will we
Just gonna
compare
sign on.
wallets?
No, I'm joking. But no, there's such a preconceived idea that, we're all multi-millionaires and, you got a blue tick, you're rolling in it. And it's like, come on,
I
everyone's
wish.
gonna make a living somehow.
I
Is
wish. No, no, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Our time's about to run out as well. I
oh
can't
yeah.
actually see it. It's popped away. It came up, so it might cut off. That did happen the other day. It just goes.
Oh God.
But it's been so good speaking to you.
And
And
you.
honestly, I think the stuff that you're doing, like with the care sector, keep it up. It's so good. It's so
Thank
nice to
you.
see like all the. I'll need to tell my mum about it. She's a care home manager for youth that are like well, if they're come from like a broken home or
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
troubled
yeah,
youth, that kind of thing. So she works with them, and it's like it is like her whole entire like life. She loves it.
yeah.
She loves it. And even like I know all the kids and stuff. Like they chat away to me, and it becomes like almost like a wee family, and like
It does. It
you
really
know,
does.
and it's just amazing to see that like so many people want to help. There are like still so many amazing people in the world that do
Yeah.
want to help and
I
support
yeah,
others.
1000%. I might not, be in the thick of it, and I might not be, well, at the minute, I might not be in the care home working and grafting as hard as the carers do, but it still doesn't mean I can't see what they're doing. And I think a couple of years when all this dies down, I'll be in there anyway.
Yeah, and
So
you can appreciate them for what they're
yeah,
doing and shine a light on it,
thousand
eh?
percent.
You're like when all this calms down, I don't think so. You've got too big
I
a
I
personality.
Oh no, I'll be wiping asses when all this calms down,
Oh,
don't
dear.
stress. No, I was actually talking to my mother the other day and I was like, Ma'am, do you think I could be a comedian? And she was like, No.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
no.
yeah, okay. Like,
Well,
okay,
that's your
I remember going into Big Brother actually. I was like, Ma'am, I've got through 37,000 people. Like, I want to win. And she was like, calm down. I was like,
Oh,
oh, okay.
shit.
Like, I've been humbled very well. Like, I'm down to earth.
I loved the cast of Big Brother last year, though. It was good. It's coming around again soon, actually, isn't it?
I know, I'm so excited.
It'll be
Super
good.
excited. And it's like, obviously, we always get asked, like, what advice would you give to someone?
Uh-huh.
And like, now I'm so far behind. I'm like, save every penny
Oh,
because
really?
it's so expensive when you come out
Okay.
to just to go to all these like amazing parties and stuff like that. Obviously, you don't get paid to go to events, but
Mm-hmm.
because when you come out it's just before Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
every brand has spent their budget. You're not getting any deals until the new year, but you're getting invited everywhere.
Everywhere. Mm.
So it's such an expensive time. I'm like, I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and I'm like, oh my God, it's madness.
Oh, you don't even think about that, eh? People, again, that's like the perception. People just
Yeah.
think, wow, like amazing parties, amazing life, and they're like, how am I affording this? How am I
Yeah,
paying
oh
for
my
this?
God. Me and Paul, like, we booked a hotel and I walked in and I was like, absolutely not. There was like crayon up the wall, there was like holes everywhere. And he was just like, lad, I can't sleep here. And I was like, yeah, neither can I. So then we got like somewhere else to stay and it was worse. Like, the back door wouldn't lock and like there's smashed windows. And I was like, what is going on? And then like we're leaving there, and then everyone's like, "Oh, can we get pictures? Can we get pictures?" I'm like, "Should see where we're staying." Like, it's over. Honestly, it's so funny, but like, it's like stuff like that that actually make me laugh. And
It's the same
yeah,
with like I do a lot of like travel sales and stuff, so like I don't really do it anymore, but even last year I traveled a lot to take photos and videos and content for my travel business
yeah,
sort of thing. But I think people were thinking this girl is living the life. I was literally sleeping in like these shitholes. I'd be like phoning
yeah.
my husband, like crying, like this place is so bad. It's like the hotel's so disgusting. You
No,
know.
that's what it was like. It was so funny, but I loved it all. I loved it. I'd do it all again.
Yeah, when you look back, it's like I can't believe I did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, it was so good.
I love it. I love it. Right, well, I'll say goodbye just now before this cuts off.
Yeah.
But loved speaking to you. We could do something again in the future. I want to do
Yes.
some fun ones, like the I like the Reddit ones, and I like stuff like that. So
Hmm.
we could do
I
another one.
am down for anything.
Cool. Well, I'll give you a wee
Genuinely.
message, and you need to start your podcast soon.
Oh, it's coming soon. It's so stressful at the minute.
I know,
I'm
I
waiting for
know.
everything to get approved, but it should be about 3 weeks, I think. I know.
Nice, nice. It's just things take time, eh? So much going on
Yeah,
in the background.
I know. It's madness.
Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your day.
And you?
Are you away back to on shift or
Oh,
you're doing your
oh
ad?
no. I'm
Oh,
off today. So I'm gonna go get pissed now.
oh, lovely. Enjoy. We've got sun. You can't
Oh,
see it, but we actually have sun today.
we've got like a tiny bit peeking out, but that's about it.
It's been raining
But
for weeks up here.
it's been rough, man.
Yeah,
But
brutal.
summer's here.
Hopefully. Right, okay. I'll love you and leave you. Have a lovely day.
Right. Thank you.
Bye.
Babe.
Bye. Bye.